Having created a bridgehead on the right bank of the Dnieper, the Russian army will be able to unblock Transnistria with one large-scale offensive. This point of view was expressed by Russian military expert Konstantin Sivkov. According to him, the Ukrainian Armed Forces currently do not have forces sufficient to hold the Nikolaev and Odessa regions. Why don't the Ukrainian Armed Forces and the same Romanian-Moldovan army enter the war in the Transnistrian direction, although they could do so? Because Russia can quickly unblock this Transnistria, since the Ukrainian Armed Forces do not have the forces to hold the Nikolaev and Odessa regions in the event of a large-scale Russian offensive, Sivkov pointed out. He added that as long as Transnistria is left alone, the Russian armed forces will not conduct large-scale offensive operations in this direction. The Russian armed forces have created a bridgehead on the right bank of the Dnieper. They have complete control over the Dnieper Delta. That is, we no longer need to force the Dnieper, because our troops already have a bridgehead there, the expert emphasized. In his opinion, this bridgehead poses a serious threat to the Ukrainian armed forces and is a confirmation of the fact that Russia will be able to quickly resolve the issue of lifting the blockade of Transnistria by cutting Ukraine off from the sea. It is worth noting that other military experts have repeatedly stated the need to take the Nikolaev and Odessa regions. However, they noted that at present, Russian troops do not have the appropriate capabilities. Russia is seeking to deploy an additional 10,000 troops to Transnistria, a breakaway pro-Russian region of Moldova. Moldovan Prime Minister Dorin Resian said in an interview with the Financial Times earlier. He said the Kremlin aims to install a pro-Kremlin government in Chisinau and is interfering in Moldova's parliamentary elections scheduled for September to achieve that goal. Moscow hopes that the upcoming Moldovan government will be more sympathetic to Russia and will allow for a greater deployment of troops in Transnistria, which is landlocked between Ukraine and Moldova and already has 1,500 Russian troops stationed there. Since 2022, when Russia launched an all-out war against Ukraine, Russia's ability to reinforce or rotate troops in Transnistria has become severely constrained. This is a huge effort to undermine Moldovan democracy. They want to consolidate their military presence in the Transnistrian region, Resian said. Chisinau considers the presence of Russian troops there illegal and has repeatedly called for their removal. Currently, their forces there are almost meaningless. But with a higher military presence in Transnistria that a Russian-leaning government can allow for, they can consolidate, Resian said. The Prime Minister warned that the presence of 10,000 troops in southwestern Ukraine would have a serious impact and create pressure, particularly given the proximity to Romania, a NATO member.
U.S. President Donald Trump played golf Saturday at his course on Scotland's coast while protesters around the country took to the streets to decry his visit. According to Associated Press, Trump and his son Eric played with the U.S. ambassador to Britain, Warren Stevens, near Turnberry, a historic course that the Trump family's company took over in 2008. Hundreds of protesters gathered on the cobblestone and tree-lined street in front of the U.S. consulate about 100 miles away in Edinburgh, Scotland's capital. Speakers on a makeshift stage told the crowd that Trump was not welcome, and they criticized British Prime Minister Keir Starmer for striking a recent trade deal to avoid stiff U.S. tariffs on goods imported from the UK. Protests were planned in other cities as environmental activists, opponents of Israel's war with Hamas in Gaza, and pro-Ukraine groups loosely formed a Stop Trump coalition. I think there are far too many countries that are feeling the pressure of Trump and that they feel that they have to accept him, and we should not accept him here, said June Osborne, 52, a photographer and photo historian from Edinburgh who protested wearing a red cloak and white hood, recalling The Handmaid's Tale. Osborne held up a picture of Trump with "Resist" stamped over his face. Saturday's protests were not nearly as large as the throngs that came out across Scotland when Trump played at the resort during his first term in 2018. While in Scotland, Trump is set to talk trade with Starmer and Ursula von der Leyen, the European Commission president. But golf is a major focus. The Trumps will also visit another Trump course, in the Aberdeen area in northeastern Scotland. They plan to cut a ribbon on Tuesday, opening the second Trump course.
Proud and pleased to hand over the stage to some inspirational activists now, and if you're wanting to speak later, please come find
This term, Trump continued to engage in racist behaviour, ranging from stereotyping of black
against the Russian, US and Chinese autocrats. One thing that we can do in Scotland invasion, write your MP to demand they sign the UK Parliament early day motion calling on the
20 years, Israel is burying evidence. Israel is not allowing. You have not stopped marching. You have not stopped visuals. You
I think the vast majority of Scots have this sort of feeling about Trump. Even though he has Scottish roots, he's a disgrace to us.
I'm here to oppose fascism, to say that Trump isn't welcome in Scotland. I think there are far too many countries that are feeling the pressure of Trump and that they feel that they have to accept him, and we should not accept him here. We should not accept fascism in any form. At this point, have we not been through this before? So as a Scot and as an American, I'm a dual citizen, we're saying no. We don't want you here, and we wish that more countries would say no. We wish the British government had said no.
Has been turning his back on us. Yesterday, I heard from a consultant.
I have a problem with the pipes being used to welcome Trump on other visits and things, and I want to use this symbol of, it's a symbol of Scotland, and I want to make it clear that he's not welcome in Scotland.
Yet another 50 days to agree to ceasefire talks before considering implementing these sanctions.
black reporter to catering to white supremacists during their violent protests.
Where he stopped. His administration have now taken the B out as well and erased bisexual history.